The Ophite deception, the son of perdition, and the serpent kingdom built or hidden in plain sight. In today's lesson, many of you will hear some of the most dynamic and eye-opening biblical information that you have heard in the entirety of your lives. But let me start off quickly by saying, in this ministry and channel, I or we do not support bitterness towards any people whatsoever. For I and this ministry love, honor, and respect all humanity. But in today's lesson, you will be revealed some of the most eye-opening biblical information that many have heard in the entirety of your lives. But as you learn this information, always wield truth with love and nothing else. In the first portion of today's lesson, we will deal with the son of perdition coming from the apocalypse of Eliyahu. Apocalypse of Eliyahu, chapter 3, verse 1. In the 4th year of that king, the son of lawlessness, perdition, will appear, saying, I am the Hamashiach, although he is not. Do not believe him. 2 Thessalonians chapter 2, verse 3 and 4. Let no man deceive you by any means, for that day shall not come, except there come a falling away first, and the man of sin be revealed, the son of perdition, who opposes and exalts himself above all that is called Elohim, or that is worship, so that he, as Elohim, sitteth in the temple of Elohim, showing himself that he is Elohim. Meaning, the warning is that the false Messiah appears before the true coming of Yahushua. The title, the son of lawlessness, comes from the Greek Strong's Concordance number G458, meaning against the law or without Torah, rebellion against Yahuwah Elohim's order. This connects with the book of Daniel, chapter 7, verse 25, and he shall speak great words against the Most High, and shall wear out the saints of the Most High, and think to change times and laws. Apocalypse of Eliyahu, chapter 3, verse 2 through 4. When the Messiah or Hamashiach comes, he will come in a manner of conveying of doves, with the crown of doves surrounding him. He will walk upon Shamaim's vaults, with the signs of the stake leading him. The whole world will behold him like the sun which shines from the eastern horizon to the western. This is how he will come, with all his Malachim surrounding him. Book of Matthew, chapter 24, verse 27. For as the lightning comes out of the east and shineth even until the west, so shall also the coming of the Son of Man be. Revelations 1, verse 7. Behold, he cometh with clouds, and every eye shall see him. Matthew 25:31. When the Son of Man shall come in his glory, and all the Quadosh Malachims, so-called angels, with him, then shall he set up upon the throne of his glory. Meaning, the return of Yahushua will not be hidden it will be visible to the entire world, the whole earth, accompanied by his malachims, in which they call angels, with heavenly glory impossible to be counterfeited. The Apocalypse of Eliyahu, chapter 3, verse 5. But the son of perdition, the lawless one, will begin to stand again in the set apart places. When ye therefore shall see the abomination of desolation spoken by the prophet Daniel stand in the holy place, 2 Thessalonians chapter 2 verse 4, so that he as Elohim sitteth in the temple of Elohim, showing himself that he is Elohim, meaning the false one seeks the place of Yahuwah's authority. He imitates what belongs to the Hamashiach, Yahushua, or referred to as Yahushua or Yahusha. Apocalypse of Eliyahu chapter 3 verse 6. He will say to the sun, fall, and it will fall. He will say, shine, and it will do it. He will say, darken, and it will do it. He will say to the moon, become bloody, and it will do it. He will walk upon the sea and the rivers as upon dry land. 2 Thessalonians chapter 2 verse 9. Even him whose coming is after the work of Satan with all powers and signs and lying wonders. And he, as it states in Hazun or Revelations 13:13, he doeth great wonders, so that he maketh fire come down from Shamaim or heaven on the earth in the sight of men, and deceiveth them that dwell on the earth by means of those miracles. Meaning the enemy's counterfeit will involve supernatural demonstrations. The warning is power does not automatically equal truth. The test is whether the person comes according to the word of Yahuwah Elohim. Apocalypse of Eliyahu chapter 3 verse 9. He will cause the lame to walk. He will cause the deaf to hear. He will cause the dumb to speak. He will cause the blind to see. The lepers he will cleanse. The ill he will heal. And demons will he cast out. He will multiply his signs and his wonders. He will do the works which the Messiah did, except for raising the unaliving alone. Matthew 24:24. For there shall arise false messiahs and false prophets, and show great signs and wonders, inasmuch that if it were possible, they should deceive the very elect. And he deceiveth all them which dwell on earth by means of those miracles. Meaning the greatest deception is limitation. The false one copies healing signs, wonders, and authorities, but he cannot reproduce the power that belongs to Yahushua alone, which is resurrection. Apocalypse of Eliyahu chapter 3 verse 13. In this you shall know that he is the son of lawlessness, because he is unable to give life. Connection, Yehukanan chapter 5 verse 21. For as the Father raises up the unaliving and quickeneth them, even so the Son quickeneth whom he will. Revelations or Hazun chapter 1 verse 18. I am he that liveth and was unalive, and behold, I am alive forevermore. Meaning the distinction between the counterfeit and Yahushua. The false one can imitate signs. Only the Hamashiach Yahushua has authority over life and unaliving. The Apocalypse of Eliyahu chapter 3 verse 14. The prophecy gives sign by which the son of perdition may be recognized. In this you will know that he is the son of lawlessness, because he is unable to give life. For behold, I will tell you his sign so that you might know him. He is of a skinny-legged young lad, having a tuft of gray on his bald head. His eyebrows will reach to his ears. There is a leprous spot on the front of his hand. He will transform himself in the presence of those who see him. He will become a young child. He will become old. He will transform himself in every sign, but the sign of his head he will not be able to change. Therein, family, you will know that he is the son of perdition. 2 Corinthians 11 and 14. And no marvel, for Satan himself is transformed into a malachim of light. Hazum 13 and 11. And he had two horns like a lamb, and he spake like a dragon. Meaning the enemy appears with an outward appearance of righteousness, but his source is deception. The final contrast: the false Messiah comes with deception, uses lying wonders, exalts himself, opposes Yahuwah Elohim. He cannot give life. He leads people away from the truth. Yahushua, the Messiah, comes openly from Shamaim with his malachim called angels. Every eye sees him. He has authority over unaliving and destroys the wicked. The final precept, 2 Thessalonians 2 and 8. And then when that wicked will be revealed, whom Yahushua shall consume with the spirit of his mouth, and shall destroy with the brightness of his coming. Revelations 19 verse 11. Yahushua returns as a righteous judge, and the word from his mouth defeats the enemies of Yahuwah. Conclusion: the apocalypse of Eliyahu chapter 3, 2 Thessalonians chapter 2 reveals one central warning. The final deception will look like the truth, sound like the truth, and perform signs like truth. But the saints of Yahuwah Elohim must test everything by the scriptures and wait for the true appearing of Yahushua, the Messiah. Let me give a special shout out to my Ox Shemuel over there in the other LA, which is Lower Alabama. That brother is always out there in the vineyard. The son of perdition is exposed. Now let us continue and dive deeper in today's lesson. Coming from the restored name King James Version, exposing the Ophite deception. Who and what is Ophite? Ophite is a word that comes from the Greek word ophis, O-P-H-I-S, which means serpent or snake. Many of you may be saying, well, I don't understand. I promise you, if you are patient with me, you will not only understand, but over and understand. And after today's lesson, I could promise you without a shadow of a doubt, when the scales are removed off of your eyes and ears through today's dynamic lesson, you will never look at the world and society the same again. This is the true awakening. Pay attention to what I'm about to share. Book of Matthew, or Matityahu, chapter 13, and let us look at verse 33. There will be a part 2 and 3 to this. This is too much information to cover in just one short lesson. Verse 33, listen. Another parable spake he unto them. The kingdom of Shamaim is like unto leaven, which a woman took and hid in 3 measures of meal, till the whole was leavened. All these things spake Yahushua unto the multitude in parables, and without parables spake he not unto them, that it might be fulfilled which was spoken by the prophet, saying, I will open my mouth in parables. I will utter things which have been kept secret from the foundations of the world. And what is the secret? That the Ophite kingdom and the son of perdition has been hiding and built in plain sight. Let's continue. Verse 36. Then Yahushua sent away the multitude and went in into the house, and his disciples came unto him, saying, Declare unto us the parable of the tares of the field. Listen. And he answered and said unto them, He that soweth the good seed is the Son of Man. The field is the world. The good seed are the children of the kingdom, but the tares are the children of the wicked one. You see that word seed in verse 37? It comes from the Greek word sperma. S-P-E-R-M-A, which means progeny, children, offspring, descendants. So this isn't spiritual, this is physical. It says, the field is the world, the good seed are the children of the kingdom, but the tares are the children, the seed, the progeny, the offspring of the wicked. This is not spiritual, this is physical. Listen, the enemy that sowed them is the devil. The harvest is the end of the age, and the reapers are the Malachim, called angels. As therefore the tares are gathered and burned in the fire, so shall it be at the end of this age. The Son of Man shall send forth his Malachim, called angels, and they shall gather out of his kingdom all things that offend and them that do iniquity, and shall cast them into the furnace of fire. There shall be wailing and gnashing of teeth. So what Yahushua is explaining here, family, is what took place in the Garden of Eden. And he is exposing that the serpent has a physical seed on earth. You see, the Ophites were members of a Gnostic sect or group of sect, including, you see it there, that revered the serpent as the symbol of hidden divine wisdom, and as having befriended Adam and Eve or Kawa by persuading them to eat from the tree of knowledge. If you have not watched my previous lesson, I did an entire breakdown about who and what the serpent was in the garden. It's on my channel on YouTube. So who are these Ophite people? Let me allow them to explain to you who they say they are. Listen. Encyclopedia Britannica. Ophite, from the Greek ophis, meaning serpent. Member of any several Gnostic sects that flourished where? In the Roman Empire during the 2nd century AD, and for several centuries thereafter, a variety of Gnostic sects such as the Essenes and the Canaanites. Pay close attention to the Canaanites and are included under the designation Ophites. these sects believed differed in various ways, but central to them was all dualistic theology that opposed a purely spiritual supreme being who was both the origin of the cosmic process and the highest of good to a chaotic and evil material. Pay close attention to the Canaanite. Was the leader of the Canaanite who fled before the arms of the victorious Joshua mentioned in the scriptures, and Bryant proved that he was an Egyptian. See, the ancient Greeks and Romans, all they did was adopted Egyptian customs and renamed it. Listen, identical to Thoth, but as mere names of individuals are of no importance when all agree that the same superstition existed contemporaneously in two countries, and since Thoth is declared as a Skanda, however you pronounce that, to have been the father of Phoenicia. Pay close attention to Phoenicia and the Canaanites, as well as the Egyptian Ophite or something like that. We may endeavor without presumption to reconcile the opinions of these learned authors by assuming each to be right in his own line of argument, and by generalizing the name Cadmus instead of appropriating it to an individual by the word Cadmus. Therefore, we may understand the leader of the Cadmonites, whether Egypt or Phoenicia. The Greeks and the Romans adopted Egyptian customs. They just rehashed it, renamed it. There would consequently be as many persons of this name as colonies of this denomination. Listen, the first appearance of these idolaters in Europe is mythologically described under the fable of Cadmus and Europia, according to which. Now, what I want you to pay close attention to is where it says these idolaters. In this article, there are many pages. As you see in the upper left-hand corner, this is page 183. Serpent worship where? In Europe. Remember, Ophite comes from office, which means snake or serpent people. Listen, Greece, whether we learn the indigenous Bryant to be correct or not in deriving the very name Europe from Araba, the solar serpent, it is certain Opliteria prevailed in this quarter of the globe at the earliest period of idolatry. Of the first countries of where family, Europe and Greece was first colonized by the Ophites, which were known as the serpent people, but at separate times from both Egypt and Phoenicia, and is question of some doubt through perhaps a little importance whether the leader of the first colony celebrated Cadmus was a Phoenician. Phoenicians are Canaanites, and Canaanites are Phoenicians who adopted Egyptian customs. Bocart was shown that Cadmus was the leader of who family? The Canaanites, who fled before the victorious Joshua, and Bryant has proved that he was an Egyptian, identical with Thoth, but as mere names of individuals are of no importance when all agree the same superstition existed contemporaneously in two countries. See, this is why in the book of Jeremiah or Jeremiah, chapter 10, verse 2, thus saith Yahuwah Elohim, learn not the way of the heathens. New King James says, learn not the way of the Gentiles. So the Gentiles are the heathens, and the heathens are the Gentiles. Then according to Matthew chapter 6, Matit Yahu chapter 6, verse 7, when you palau, not pray as in victim, do not keep on babbling as the pagans. for they think that they will be heard because of their many words. When you pull out or pray, do not babble on and on as the Gentiles. So the Gentiles are the pagans, and the pagans are the heathens, which are the Gentiles, that we were to not learn their ways. Then according to Genesis chapter 10, verse 5, it states, by these were the isles of the Gentiles divided in their land. Look at the upper left-hand corner of the map or the photo. What is the land of the Gentiles? The land of the Ophites, the serpent people. You see, there's more. Pay attention. Now, where we're about to go to now is a version of the King James Bible called the E.W. Bullinger's Companion Bible, which I have a physical copy, but you can pull up online for free. And what we want to look at is Mr. E.W. Bullinger's appendixes. And you click on this and he has a multitude of appendixes and letters. I'm showing you the digital copy, but what I'm getting ready to do for the sake of time is show you my physical copy that I have on the screen. So all the information that I'm getting ready to share with you comes from this website right here. But I have a physical copy of this Bible myself, in which I've had for probably about 30 years now. Pay close attention. This is coming from Appendix 25, dealing with Genesis chapter 6 and the Nephilim. See, I see all type of lessons out here on social media and YouTube, and some of these lessons and videos look like near Hollywood production. And I am amazed at the visual context that is in many of these videos, but I have yet to see a video that truly exposes and tell you who and what the Nephilim are. But in today's lesson, with love, you will quickly learn. Listen. The progeny of the fallen angels with the daughters of Adam are called in Genesis 6 Nephilim, which means to what? Fall, which is Nephal. What these beings were can be gathered only from scripture. They were evidently great in size and were great in what? Wickedness. They were superhuman, abnormal beings, and their destruction was necessary for the human race and for the faithfulness of Yahuwah's word. This is why the world had to be flooded, but they made it through. We're going to prove this. This is why the flood was brought upon the world of the Unyali as prophesied by Enoch. But we read of the Nephilim again in Numbers chapter 13, verse 33, which is after the flood. But there we saw the Nephilim, the sons of Anak, which come from Nephilim. How, it may be asked, could this be if they were destroyed in the flood? The answer is contained in Genesis or Bereshit chapter 6, verse 4, where we read, there were Nephilim in the earth in those days, that is the days of Noah, and also after that, when the sons of Elohim came in unto the daughters of men, and they bare them the same were mighty men, Hebrew of Gabor, meaning heroes, which were of old, men of renown, who got the name renown for their unyaliness. Listen, so that after that, i.e. after the flood, there was a second eruption of these what? Fallen angels, evidently smaller in number and more limited in area, for they were for the most part confined to Canaan and were known as the nations of Canaan. It was for the destruction of these that the sword of Yisrael was necessary, as the flood was before. So listen, look at the very bottom here. The other highlighted portion I have, and enumerated and named among who? The Canaanite, the Canaanite, the Kenzanites, the Cadmonites, the Hittites, and the Perizzites, the Rephaim, and the Amorites. Israel's last captivity was to the Amorites, which is a Canaanite people, which was just fulfilled in the year 2019. Listen, and the Girgasites and the Jebusites. Let me get another appendix. Appendix 23. Their progeny, called Nephilim, translated as giants, were monsters of what? Iniquity, sin, lawlessness, perdition, you see, and superhuman in size and character, had to be destroyed. See Appendix 25, which we just read. This was the one and only object of the flood. This eruption of who? Fallen angels was Satan's first attempt to prevent the coming seed of the woman foretold in Bereshit 3:15. It could be accomplished if he could accomplish the word of Yahuwah would have failed by his own doom, would have been averted. As soon as it was made known that the seed of the woman was to come through Abraham, there must have been an eruption as recorded in Genesis 6 and 4. And after that, that is after the days of Noah, more than 500 years after the first eruption, the aim of the enemy was to occupy Canaan in advance of Abraham, so as to contest the occupation of his seed. For when Abraham entered Canaan, we read in Genesis 12 and 6, the Canaanite, i.e., was already in the land. So we see that this was Satan's attempt to avert or prevent the coming of Yahushua the Savior. There's more. Listen, this is a picture of Mr. E.W. Bullinger. We or I will write knowledge and information and truth always with love. Never forget that as you are learning with me today. And please like, share, and subscribe, and share this with all you know, because this level of information is continually being suppressed. And I need your help by sharing this on many platforms as you can. There's more. Pay attention. The last and final captivity of the children of Yisrael was prophesied in the book of Genesis, or Bereshit chapter 15, verse 13. And he said to Abraham, know of a surety that thy seed shall be a stranger in a land that is not theirs, and shall serve them and afflict them 400 years. And also the nation whom they will serve will I judge, and afterwards they shall come out with great substance. And thou shalt go to thy fathers in peace, and thou shalt be buried in a good old age. But in the fourth generation they shall come hither again, for the iniquity of the Amorites is not yet full. Who is the iniquity of the Amorites? Look at the footnote here. In verse 16, in the fourth generation, that is 400 years, a generation is the age of a man from when his first son, from the legal standpoint. In Abram's case, it was 100 years. The iniquity of the Amorites was not yet full. Just how sinful many Canaanite, which are the Ophites, the sons of perdition's religious practices are now known from archaeological artifacts. Their worship was polytheistic and included child, you see it there. It also dealt with 304ing and divination. Yahuwah Elohim was patient in judgment, even with the wicked Canaanites who are the Ophites. Listen, this is so powerful here, I won't even read. Pause this and read this in your spare time. We have learned that Cain, his father, was Satan himself. Cain was begotten of Satan, and therefore the serpent seed flows through Cain down through his descendants. So if Satan has his own literal offspring, let's trace the lineage down through history, starting with the descendants of Cain. The serpent seed began with Cain, and his descendants were called what family? Canaanites. It will then be shown that the serpent seed survived the flood. It then went through Ham's son, Canaan. Pay close attention to Ham's son, Canaan. Esau married Canaanite women and also became a part of the serpent seed. It then went through the Gibeonites, who were a Canaanite tribe of the Hippolytes. These Gibeonites then became temple servants called Nithium. The Nithium took over the priesthood. You see, the Levites, which were a melanated, woolly-haired people, were the priests and the scribes. But the Canaanites, the Ophites, took over their office. The families of the scribe that ran the temple were called Canaanites. It then went through the Pharisees of Yahushua's day. We got to stop with this Jesus. The letter J was not invented or created until after 1,524 years after the New Testament was written and completed. Christ, or the Messiah's true name, is Yahushua. The serpent seed then continues on through the end of the age. The Canaanites, the sons of who? Cain. And now art thou cursed from the earth, which hath opened her mouth to receive thy brother's blood from thy hand. When thou tillest the ground, it shall not henceforth yield her strength unto thee. A fugitive and a vagabond shalt thou be in the earth. And there is a false doctrine out there that is being taught by a multitude of misled and uninformed groups that teach that Esau is the YT man, and that's the furthest thing from the truth. But Esau did marry into a particular family that Yahuwah Elohim had a problem with. You see, according to the book of Josephus, chapter 18, concerning the sons of Isaac and Rebekah, Esau and Jacob, it says, for they being twins and in all thing else alike, only different in this one thing. Esau was hairy and Jacob was smooth skinned. But who did Esau marry? Esau married into a Canaanite family and became one with them. Now, who are the people that Esau married? The next passage of scripture I'm going to give you is coming from the Zondervan's King James Study Bible, and this is a picture of Mr. Pat and Bernie Zondervan's. Now I'm getting ready to allow the Zondervans and the biblical theologians and historians. They're going to expose who the Canaanites are. Pay attention. Book of Genesis, chapter 9, verse 25, King James Zondervan Study Bible. And he said, cursed be Canaan, a servant of servants shall he be unto his brethren. Who do the biblical scholars, theologians, and historians say that the Canaanites are? Listen, in the yellow below, it is probably better that Canaan and his descendants were to be punished because they were going to be even worse than Ham. Noah's prophecy cannot be used to justify the enslavement of those who are melanated, since those cursed here were Canaanites who are what? You see it on the screen. The Canaanites are the Ophites, which are the children of the fallen one, the serpent. This is who and what the Messiah was explaining in Matthew chapter 13. The Canaanites and the Ophites and the sons of perdition have been hiding in plain sight. Now, can they be saved? Absolutely. See, now are the scales being removed off of your mind, heart, and ears? Right knowledge and information causes you to love and not be bitter. We leave the judgment up to Yahuwah Elohim. But in the book of Genesis or Bereshit chapter 19, when you read about Sodom and Gomorrah, who and what were Sodom and Gomorrah? The thing that had been is that which shall be done, and that which is done is that which shall be done. And there is no new thing under the sun. Who is Sodom and Gomorrah? Let me show you. Book of Jasher, chapter 10, verse 1. Peleg, the son of Eber, unalived in those days, in the 48th year of the life of Abram, the son of Terah, and all the days of Peleg were 239 years. When Yahuwah had scattered the sons of men on account of what family? Their sins at the tower. Behold, they spread forth into many divisions, and all the sons of men were dispersed into the four corners of the earth. Who are Sodom and Gomorrah? Verse 24, and the children of Canaan, the Canaanites, also built them cities and called their cities after their names, 11 cities and others without number. And 4 men from the family of Ham went to the land of the plain. These are the names of the 4 men: Sodom, Gomorrah, Admai, and Zeboam. So who were the originators of same people union? The Canaanites, which have been exposed. Who legalized this in 2015? The Canaanites. The thing that has been is that which shall be done, and there is no new thing under the sun. Once you get this level of information and your spiritual eyes and ears are open, you'll never look at life in the world the same. But right knowledge and information never causes one to be bitter. It sets you free. Book of Bereshit or Genesis chapter 4, verse 1. And Adam knew Kawa or Eve, his wife, and she conceived and bare Cain, and said, I have gotten a man of Yahuwah. And she again bare his brother Abel. And Abel was a keeper of the sheep, but Cain was a tiller of the ground. And in process of time it came to pass that Cain brought the fruit of the ground an offering unto Yahuwah. And for the sake of time, I'm looking here. This is where I wanted to go, verse 7, because I want to keep this short. I'm on a time constraint for today. Look at what Yahuwah Elohim told Cain. If thou doest well, shall not thy be accepted? And if thou doest not well, sin lieth at the door, and unto thee shall he be his desire, and thou shalt rule over him. So Yahuwah Elohim told the son of the serpent, Cain, from the very beginning, Cain, if you stop unaliving, stop telling untruth, stop preaching and teaching lawlessness, will you not be accepted? Can you not be saved? Yes. I'm looking at the time, family, and I have to keep this lesson short for today, but there will be a part 2 or 3. So this will conclude this portion of today's lesson. Please like, share, subscribe, and support the ministry. Support the work, family. Most often, many of you have never came across this level of information. And I say this with all humility, as it says in the book of Yeshayahu or Isaiah chapter 30, around verse 20, no longer shall your teachers be hidden, but thy eyes shall see thy mores, thy shepherds, thy elders, such as myself, saying, this is the way of Yahuwah Elohim, walk ye in it. Never forget, family, right knowledge and information never causes one to be bitter. We love and ahab all humanity, and all people can be saved if they only repent and are immersed and return to the law, statutes, and commandments of Yahuwah Elohim. May the precious blood of his son, Yahushua, the Messiah, wash, cleanse, and protect us from all sickness, evil, disease, harm, and danger. In the precious and saving and beloved name of his son, Yahushua, the Messiah, we pull out to you, Father Yahuwah Elohim, over our lives, our children, our families' lives, and everything that appertaineth unto us, now and forevermore. So shall it be. Much ahab, family. Shalom. Elder loves you. Like, share, subscribe. There is so much more to come. Shalom.